Welcome back to Bullet Points here on the Phantom Llama's Den. This is our used to be monthly podcast, pro to a pro sanity, pro all things truly common sense. We took a sabbatical. What's it been now?
I'd say 2 months.
Just while we were trying to get caught up on some of our other content, I have story time tonight, Aaron. We had a very unfortunate occurrence at my local Catholic parish. One of the deacons there drank the Kool-Aid, so to speak. If you're like me and have a really short attention span, I have chapter links down in the description. Check them out if you want to get to the main story. Otherwise, let's get into it. Hit it, Aaron. Aaron, how are you doing, sir? What are you having to drink?
Just kind of keeping it chill with some Miller High Life tonight. Not my absolute favorite drink, but it's kind of my sit down casual beer.
Somebody must have an early morning tomorrow.
You drinking the hard Kool-Aid?
I do not drink Kool-Aid. I was not allowed to drink Kool-Aid when I was younger because of the red dye. It made me even crazier. I am drinking from a bottle that I finally decided to pull the trigger on, pun, Templeton Bourbon. This one is quite smooth. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what you think of it.
I'm excited to try it.
We've got a couple things we want to address in this month's bullet points. First off, where we've been. We talked about it very briefly in the intro there, and just want to open it up to, obviously it's not going to be an open forum live, but down in the comment section, sound off. We're trying to figure out what to do with bullet points because Aaron and I both really enjoy bullet points. Aaron, do you want to give some of the options that we're throwing around?
He alluded to the fact that people wouldn't be able to chime in a live format on this podcast. However, that's not something that we're entirely opposed to in the future. If you'd like to see this bullet points series in a live format, let us know. That's something that we're kind of throwing around, whether it's a multi-platform stream, single platform stream. If you watch on YouTube, if you watch on Twitch, or you want to watch on Twitch, or if you prefer one method over the other, just let us know if that's something that you'd be interested in. Format-wise, length-wise, in terms of these episodes, if you like the shorter format, where it's just one topic and we focus on that one topic for that one episode, or if you like us covering a whole host of topics in one session, we definitely entertain some of those ideas. Sometimes the shorter format is just more digestible for people.
So yeah, we're really thinking about if we want to do this in a live format, and I think that we would probably do it on YouTube primarily, but maybe simulcast if we can figure that out on Twitch. We've also toyed with the idea of just starting a whole other channel for bullet points. So the PLD bullet points channel or something like that. We've also played, as Aaron said, with a shorter format. So maybe Aaron and I sit down for a couple hours one night and just start going on about anything we can think of, whether it's current event stuff, just general philosophy of Second Amendment, self-defense, firearms, that stuff. And we would upload those as kind of bonus videos.
We want to hear from you, the viewers, as to how you would like us to move forward with bullet points in whatever fashion you might be interested in. Make sure to sound off in the comments. Let us know what you'd like to see. If there are other ways you would like to support us, we're definitely looking into some other platforms for possible bonus content, or ways for you to reach out to us kind of behind the scenes.
Does this bonus platform start with a P that we really haven't talked about in a while?
Subliminally dropping it, but yes.
All right, Aaron. Before we get into my blood pressure extravaganza here, I have a question for you this time.
I may have an answer.
Would you rather have unlimited ammo for the rest of your life or have the NFA repealed?
I think I'd rather have the NFA repealed, because The only barrier to unlimited ammo is unlimited money. um, and that is something that, to a degree, most people can control. Maybe not unlimited, but large coffers. In terms of the NFA, the choices are either abide by my bureaucratic paperwork or rot in prison. And I think removing that restriction would be more beneficial, like bureaucracy wise, not spending time in prison wise, whereas the only downfall of having less money is having less ammo.
I completely agree. I would much rather have to spend more money on ammunition if it meant I could have a fully automatic AR-15 or Glock or any gun fully automatic. I would much rather not have to submit paperwork and get approval from my government. Even though I'm clearly a good enough person to own firearms legally, I still have to get approval that says you're still an upstanding citizen. Here, have this suppressor. Here, you can make an SBR. You can make a short barrel shotgun or any other type of NFA item. I would much rather be able to do that and have my freedoms uninfringed and then pay for more ammo. I agree. Now I'm clearly in work avoidance mode because I'm putting off yet again getting to our main topic. I just want to give a huge shout out to two of the big friends of the Phantom Llama's Den. First off, Good Nite Gear. You've seen a couple videos now on the NVG30 and the bridge mount, and we have several other videos coming on more tech and more gadgets that Good Nite Gear sells. We have a link down in the description and in the pinned comment to Good Nite Gear's online store. They sell a whole array of night vision products, night vision gear, thermal gear. Check them out. And don't forget to use the promo code PLD10 at checkout. It'll save you 10%. Again, Good Nite Gear, thank you for being such a friend to the channel. And Aaron, we have another partner that is being showcased in next week's video.
We want to say thank you to our second partner that we want to bring up today, CoreEssentials.com. None of these videos have come out yet, but we have stuff coming that we are super excited to share with you. They have a host of items that they sell on their website. Again, it's CoreEssentials.com. They sell ratcheting gun belts, everyday carry gun belts. They sell a bunch of other gear, including sunglasses, watches, knives, tools, wallets, all kinds of other things. Check out their apparel online. CoreEssentials.com. When you go to their website, you can type in our promo code Phantom Llama's Den 10, not PLD 10, Phantom Llama's Den 10, and you will save 10% off your entire order at CoreEssentials.com.
And Aaron, I know how much you love this phrase when it comes out of my mouth, but spoiler alert, their belts are awesome. As we've mentioned on the channel before, Aaron and I are Catholic. You can tell that we're also conservative Catholics. Well, in the Catholic and overall general Christian community, a couple of Sundays ago was known as Good Shepherd Sunday, talking about how Jesus is the good shepherd, the one that protects the flock, protects the stupid ass sheep, that is us. While we aren't sheep by today's definition, we are the sheep and Jesus is the shepherd. It's a very easy Sunday to preach. All the parables, Jesus laying down his life, Jesus calling us to be like him to all his other sheep. Well, on one of the easiest Sundays to preach a homily, the deacon decides that he is going to call out that part of being a good shepherd is that we have to do something about this epidemic of gun violence in our country. The United States has the highest gun death per capita of all other countries in the civilized world. First off, civilized world. Look around the country right now. We have a lot of really uncivilized behavior happening where people are supposed to be really smart. But he continued from there. We have more deaths per year in this country due to domestic gun violence than we have in any other year of armed conflict in our country for the last 60 years. To which I'm thinking, well, since we haven't been in a world war since the 40s, I should hope we're not losing around 50,000 people every year to armed conflict, meaning our army is losing 50,000 soldiers every year. That would be significant. I'm glad that's not happening. And not to mention that 50,000 number, I'm rounding up from 49,000 and change. That's including suicides. That's including gun death. That is defensive shooting. That's including people that are killed by the police. So that's not even homicides. He didn't even stop there. He continued on to use the biggest soundbite that is being used by the anti-gun left in modern history. Gun death is now the leading cause of children's deaths in the United States, which is a grossly distorted fact. The only way that fact is true is by including 18 and 19-year-olds. 18 and 19-year-olds, the last time I checked, are legal adults. They can be sent overseas to armed conflicts. They can vote. They used to be able to buy cigarettes. They can live without a legal guardian. They are adults.
Not to mention, I'm pretty sure a good portion of those gun-related deaths in 18 and 19-year-olds tends to be as a result of gang violence.
Bingo. And that's something else the anti-gun lobby loves to do. They love to take a raw figure and just use that as the simple truth. Case in point, the 49,000 gun deaths in this country a year. It's far less when you look at just the homicides. The vast majority of 18 and 19-year-olds that are killed due to gun violence in this country are located in poor inner city areas run by very left-leaning government. The statistics and the logic really do point to gang violence. If you do the real research for children ages 0 to 17, the number one cause of death in this country is congenital abnormalities, followed by suicide, followed by homicide, at which point the gun violence can come in. That said, we're seeing an increasing number, Aaron, in number of 17-year-olds that are involved in gang violence. If we really want to be talking about the number one killer of children 0 to 17 of age, why don't they ever want to talk about abortion? That's all I'm going to say about that, because that's a whole other issue. We could go off on a huge tangent here and get super digressed, but we want to stay on topic here. This deacon was absolutely infuriating. Mrs. Lama, as soon as he started talking, she had her hand on my leg, just gripping it really tight. And she's like, "You've got this. You've got this. Don't blow up." Aaron, I was mad and I was mumbling. I was very audible in the things I was saying. And
I can just picture the steam coming out of your ears.
I could feel myself red in the face. And
I'm sure
it was absolute parroting without any critical thinking. And I hope that the vast majority of the congregation saw right through it. And it didn't even fit. Now, I would argue that it was antithetical to Good Shepherd Sunday. What is the purpose of a shepherd, Aaron?
To protect their flock.
If you are worried about gun violence, if you are worried about a predator attacking your flock, what should you be doing? Should we be saying no predators allowed, no guns allowed? Because as we have addressed time and time again on this show, Aaron, do no guns allowed signs stop bad guys?
No, they don't.
How did a shepherd protect its flock from predators, from wolves?
I imagine they use their crook or staff to fend off wolves or intruders.
Yep. Look at the Old Testament with David. He used a sling against Goliath. I imagine he got really good at using that weapon, chasing off predators.
And not to mention, and I know that people have interpreted this in a number of different ways, but I got to thinking about one specific Bible verse, and I don't mean to be like grossly proselytizing with Bible verses or anything. Luke chapter 22, verse 36 says, "He said to them, 'But now if you have a purse, take it, and also a bag. And if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one.'" Regardless of how you interpret it, he tells us that we are meant to defend ourselves. We're meant to defend our faith.
Also, in the vein of Bible verses, I have a patch that I was able to find, Psalm 144:1. "Praise be the Lord my rock, who trains my hands for war and my fingers for battle." I didn't want this whole show to be all preachy and all, but anybody out there that thinks that you cannot be conservative, that you can't be pro-gun, pro-self-defense, and be Christian, be Catholic, you're off your rocker. One of my favorite things to say when someone says, "What would Jesus do?" I like to remind them that yelling, screaming, flipping tables, and chasing people around with a whip is not outside of the realm of possibilities, folks. And that's why the title of this episode is, "Can You Be Christian and Pro 2A?" The answer is yes, because guns are just today's sword, today's bow and arrow, today's tool to be able to defend oneself. Aaron, I know you were doing a little bit of preparation work for this, even though I really didn't give you too much notification on what we'd be talking about.
I spent some time reading through the Catechism of the Catholic Church, which is essentially a book that explains the doctrine of what Catholics believe. The segment that I found talks about the difference in the action of a murderer who is just straight up killing a person with ill intent, and a person who attacks an aggressor with the goal to protect themselves or another. Nothing hinders one act from having two effects, only one of which is intended, while the other is beside the intention. Accordingly, the act of self-defense may have two effects. One is the saving of one's life, the other is the slaying of the aggressor. Therefore, this act, since one's intention is to save one's own life, is not unlawful, seeing that it is natural to everything to keep itself in being as far as possible. And yet, through proceeding from a good intention, an act may be rendered unlawful if it be out of proportion to the end. Essentially, it talks about the lawful use of an appropriate level of force against a level of force that is perpetrated against you or somebody you are tasked with protecting.
This is known as the principle of double effect. And Aaron, you hit it right on the head. I'm glad you said what you said and you found what you found. In the secular world, what a lot of people that are in the military or in law enforcement have said, it's not about hating the person in front of you. It's about loving the person behind you. This ties into the good shepherd. The good shepherd doesn't want to kill the wolf, doesn't want to necessarily have to fight. All they care about is protecting the sheep. I did a video looking back on it now. It is so cringe. The whole crux of that video was love thy neighbor.
I don't shoot to kill. Like, if I'm in a self-defense situation, my intent is not to kill that person. Your intention is to protect yourself. The unfortunate result may be that somebody dies as a result.
So what is your intent?
I shoot to stop the threat. And if that results in the death of the aggressor, that is outside of what my intention is. But if that is the result, I have succeeded in protecting myself or my loved ones or whoever it is.
Now, you may be wondering if I ever did anything to address the deacon. No, I didn't. There was a lot of contemplation that went into it, a lot of prayerful consideration. And I decided, you know what? It just wasn't worth it. If something comes up again in the future with him and his virtue signaling, I will be contacting the pastor. I'm just so tired of all this talk about needing common sense gun laws. And that was another thing that he threw out there was we need more common sense gun laws. It's like no gun law would stop most shootings. I think that about does it. Aaron, give us a last shot.
Our last shot for the day is in relation to holding an opinion. I know a number of people that choose to take no position. They choose to stand nowhere. They choose to sit on the fence when it comes to hot topic issues or hot button issues because they are afraid of either rubbing people wrong or going against the grain and having to have a difficult conversation. I found this quote from Alexander Hamilton. It says that he who stands for nothing will fall for anything. It is not wrong to hold strong beliefs. As long as you are educated on them and you can have a thought-provoking, productive discussion with somebody and you aren't just hurling insults at them.
Aaron, thank you again for your words of wisdom. I always appreciate them. And thank you again for taking time to do this episode of Bullet Points. Folks, I cannot emphasize how excited we are for some of the range and more guns related stuff. We cannot wait to share it all with you. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it. And if you have ideas for improving or changing Bullet Points as a series, as a spin-off of Phantom Llama's Den, please let us know. Thank you again for all your support, and we'll see you next week. That's going to do it for this installment in Bullet Points, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to the Phantom Llama's Den for future content. Go check us out on X, Instagram. Follow us on Twitch, where we get really rowdy on the weekends.
And as always, don't take life too seriously, and make it a great day.